But yeah, that's our mission. Spreading the positivity and dismantling the Cool Kids Club.
Yep.
And if you want a part of that, subscribe to our YouTube.
Yes.
Hello.
Hi.
And welcome back to another episode of Break Room Banter.
It is a hairstylist adjacent podcast where each week,
two friends
who also happen to be hairstylists,
break down our weeks in the break room. I'm your host, Hunter Walden.
And I am your hostess, Ericka the Red.
I feel like I can't hear Ericka the Red
without doing that.
Yeah.
I know, me too. That's why I do it. It all came from, like, back when I was in beauty school, one of my friends who eventually became a friend, like, I was talking to him on the phone, and he was like, oh, it's my friend Ericka. Somehow he knew I was a redhead, and so they started saying, Ericka the Red.
And so now it's just how you say it.
Stuck. Yeah, and it's become a name that has stuck to me. And now I can't say, it's the same thing. I can't say it without saying, Ericka the Red. I don't know. Ericka the Red. Doesn't sound right.
Well, this is one of our catch-up episodes.
Yeah.
Since Ericka and I no longer work in the same salon, we have a lot to catch up on.
We do. We have to catch up in the break room.
Yeah.
This is it.
So this is it. How was your week?
It was good. It was good. It was busy. Really busy, which I energetically was kind of in a weird place this week just because I haven't worked this hard in a while. Like, when I went from 5 days to 4 days and switched to my flippy floppy, there was like this weird lull. Plus, I think just slow time of the year too. So I'm grateful because financially I was kind of starting to feel it. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But I also, it is a lot of work to work like that, you know? And so I was kind of exhausted, and then like the eclipse and Mercury being in the microwave, I think I just was feeling it because like Friday I just was so cranky. And, but like I was like, I know I'm just cranky right now. Like nothing's wrong. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Like, that's all that this is, you know? And at least I was, like, aware of it, so I wasn't, like, spewing my ness, like,
that's so
out
weird,
on people, but
because that happened to me Friday
did it
as well.
really?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So Friday must have been, like, the day, because
Probably.
one of my other, one of my coworkers, Kelsey, she was, like, she would, like, grab a tube of color, and then the whole tube would just, like it just fell. Like, she couldn't hold on to it. And then she was squeezing the color into the thing, and then she dropped the tube in the pile of color. God. And then she was like, oh, my God, I put too much developer in. And then it was like one thing after the other.
Yeah.
Everyone was in a bad mood-ish. Like, not a bad mood, but not a great mood.
Just off.
It was, all of it was just off. And I was like, is Mercury in the microwave?
I know.
Or... But then we just recorded with Elise. Elise rocks.
Yes, next week's episode.
Yes. And she was saying that Mercury was in retrograde.
Yes.
And like, don't start shit right now because it's not going to go well.
You know what is so funny is like, it figures because you know how everything in life works in cycles, and then like things that you've moved past circle or back around just to like see if you're still an idiot, you know?
Yeah.
Usually I'm still an idiot.
This time you weren't.
I was not. I was not idiotic. And like, I don't know. I'm a weirdo. If you listen to the podcast, you know that. Like, I totally believe in this stuff. And the moon and shit affects me. And like, I'm also, you know, ruling planet Mercury, that part. But so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I just feel there was something that left my life, and I'm like really just like enjoying the relief of it. And I really thought there was totality in it, but there never is with evil. So I just was like, oh, ew, why? And it kind of threw me off a little bit yesterday afternoon. But I just, you know,
powered through.
Block, delete, like power through. You know, we're just not going to be idiotic anymore. So I don't know. There's peace in that.
Mm-hmm. You had a breath work session with Nadine.
I've had 2 with Nadine now. Yes.
You told me before we recorded our last catch-up episode, and I just completely forgot.
Yeah, and I meant to talk about it too, actually. So Nadine Hicks that we had on the podcast like a month or so ago, Nadine reached out to me and was like, I want to help you. And like, financial part can be hard or whatever. And she was like, let me help you, you know? And normally I would say no because I would be too proud and I don't want to be somebody's charity case and this and that. But like, I genuinely believe that it can help me. And I know that I genuinely need it. So I sucked it up and I said yes. And like, it's amazing how much of my brain has tried to talk me out of like taking this from accepting. Yeah, there you go. Accepting this from her. But like, okay, so we're doing it on Friday nights after work, right?
Okay.
Which is good. Yesterday, well, and with my flippy floppy, 1 week it's after work and 1 week it isn't. But on this Friday, I happen to have committed to working the front desk like 6 weeks ago. So my day that I was cranky was the day that I had to be front and center for everyone. You know what I mean? And like,
oh, dang.
So I got off work and I came home and I just was like, my room was a mess and we, you know, over FaceTime, so I had to like clean up a little bit. And I just was so jarred that like I was really looking forward to it. And at this point, it was our second session. So the first time she like, you know, saw me and probably was like, okay, we need to work on X, Y, and Z, right? So this time when we came in, I'm like sitting on my floor. And the breathing part seems to come relatively easy to me. She said I connect with it quickly and I have a good like connection to my diaphragm, which I think comes from weightlifting and singing.
Yeah.
As young. You know, just that mind-body connection. But I get distracted because my back is like on fire when I'm like trying to sit crisscross applesauce and like breathe. My back was like on fire, right? So come home, do that. I get on there with her. We start going. And then I told her, I was like, I just feel so much tension. It's like literally a burning sensation in my back muscles and like arms and stuff. So she had me do this thing where I like breathe into my shoulders because when I would start breathing, it's like I would get to here and I couldn't like expand anymore. It was like I couldn't.
Because it hurt so bad?
Breath. Yes, and it just wouldn't open.
Weird.
Like it, she was trying to have me like breathe into my diaphragm and then push it up into my chest. And it was like I could go like this. But when you fully expand your lungs, you like breathe into your back, you know? Sorry, you probably can't hear me. So she had me do this thing where I like kind of popped my arm in and out of the socket. And in the moment, it like really burned my arms. It was like, felt like a workout, almost like that feeling you get when your muscles are working, you know, and there's like oxygen going into the blood. It wasn't like tired. It was the oxygen, you know? But anyways, I had a really good session with her that like really released a lot, and then I was able to like fully breathe. And so it was like after 2 sessions I already feel like some progress, you know, and I'll catch myself when I'm sitting there doing something and I really breathe from a very like right here, you know, and you're supposed to breathe more through your nose and really deep into your body and fill up your diaphragm. And it's like I've heard all these great things about breath work and it makes sense to me, but then like at the same time, like how can breath work really do that much? Like we breathe all day long. Like how can this be a thing? But if you're shallow breathing like that, you're not oxygenating your blood or your muscles or anything in your body, which all needs oxygen, you know? So it makes sense, but the way that I feel when I'm done with her, like maybe not right that very second afterwards, but like later, in the absence of the anxiety or whatever. You know what I mean? And it's not like I sit in there and I'm like feel this magical thing, although I did with my back. That was pretty magical.
Yeah.
The like breathing into that was cool. And like I said, I'm only 2 sessions in, but I can already tell a difference in like the way that I'm able to like have a thought like enter my brain and like process it instead of immediately like going into an emotional space, I guess. I don't know. So I'm super freaking pumped about it.
Yeah.
You know? And she's just really, I like her. I like a good, with yoga and breath work and stuff like that, someone who with good cues is very important, or a trainer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And her cues are really good. Like, really good.
They are.
Yeah. You've done it with her, too, right?
I haven't since our episode, no.
Oh, okay.
So I really need to, because I've got so much, like, changes going on in my life. And I'm normally, like, really good with rolling with the punches. Like, breathing through it, the whole 9. But I'm getting a little, like, a lot is happening.
Yeah.
I had, like, 3 of my house call clients were texting me, and I was just like, oh my God, like, I'm out of town next weekend. I'm in Chicago. The next weekend I go to Hilton Head. The next weekend I go back to North Carolina. And in the midst of all of those weekends where I'm out of town, I'm also moving.
Yeah.
So there's, speaking of that, there, itchy nose.
I don't know what is happening. But
the summertime in Tennessee, man.
Dude, I like, the only time this happens to me is when I have to be on like painkillers, like
I think, well, because you're probably allergic to them.
Percocet or whatever, and it makes my nose itch, and I do not know why, but I swear I'm not on drugs.
Oh my God.
But it's like, it's doing
the
that.
Pollen in Tennessee right now.
Ugh, I don't like it.
I've washed my car every other day for the last like 3 weeks because I'm looking at it, and there's like a thick layer of pollen on it. I'm so allergic. So if I'm like driving with my windows down, which I haven't been because I'm so allergic to pollen, like the wind blowing the pollen off of my car is just like
I keep
disgusting.
going like this because I think there's a hair tickling my face. Like,
I know, I'm watching.
Ugh! It's driving me crazy.
It's gonna be fine.
Anyways, where were we?
So much going on.
Breath work. You have so much going on.
Yeah, so I need to schedule something because.
Well, shout out to Nadine, because if you guys are not already doing some breath work and you want to dive into it, I am a beginner, and I have already felt like I have gotten something from 2 sessions. So,
well, I feel like just the knowledge that she has about the breathing and like how she can help coach you work yourself out of those moments, or not even to get into those moments of like letting your emotions take over.
Well, and that's the thing is like she hasn't really coached me on anything necessarily like that, other than just like helping me learn how to like be aware. And I don't know, like, I mean, I think I've already kind of started on this road, you know what I mean? And this is just another piece that's really been, and I think going to prove super instrumental. But like, if I look at like every time I've reacted to something in a way that I'm not proud of, whether it was with anger or sadness or emotion, or just showing emotion when it was not an appropriate time to do so.
Right.
Like, and most of the things that I do that are stupid or fucked up or whatever is like the reaction is coming before the awareness has approved it to be a good idea. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like my brain is acting before the manager, AKA my consciousness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Before it's approved by the manager. So like...
I like the way that you said that.
It's like, it is. It's like my consciousness is supposed to be what manages what comes in and out of my mind, and my reactions and my thoughts and everything is a conscious choice, right? But my brain has already decided what's going to happen and started doing it before the manager shows up to the
to the chat,
to the sales floor. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know if we're speeding up the manager or slowing down the brain, but
one of the ones
they're
is
coming
happening
together, yeah, and it's been good, I mean, not that anybody wants to listen about my problems, but like, I have found it really, really helpful in that. And I know I'm not the only person out there that's neurodivergent or leads with their emotions. And like, I don't ever want to lose my emotional capacity, but I would like to learn how to manage it better. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where I'm at. You know what I mean? Because I definitely don't want to be the person that's cold and completely logical and calculated. Like, I think there's space for emotionally driven people like me, in the world, mm-hmm. But it does open you up to like acting in ways you're not proud of, or like people think about you a certain way. You know what I mean? That like, I don't give a fuck, but I do.
Yeah.
Well,
and I feel like I drive my emotion down so much that I am the person that's like, robot, I don't care. Mm-hmm. Like, and that also is not fun because people think of you a certain way too.
Yeah, well, and it is. And it's like, I mean, I think especially with kind of what we just talked to Elise about, which we'll talk about more on the podcast, like, I just think that people need to be more real. Like, mm-hmm. Social media has created this culture of like, we only post the highlights. This is my achievement, this is my achievement, this is my achievement. Look at everything I have. It's so easy. You can do it like me. Just buy my course. Like, they're just this whole like facade. And I like, as much as I hate people looking at me like I'm a hot mess, that's why I've kind of like tried to just be my hot mess self on this podcast, is like, because nobody has it all together. You know what I mean? Nobody. And I'm sick of people trying to fucking act like they do. Sorry for the cussing, Mom. But like, we don't all, and we've all been through things, and like, it's okay to not be perfect, and you don't have to be a hard ass all the time. That doesn't make you strong. In fact, it makes you weak. Like, it is hard to be vulnerable, but I don't really know how else to be, because it just is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to sit here and fake like I have it all together. That's why you don't see me posting a bunch of stuff. That's a lot of reason why I don't post stuff on social media, because I don't fucking know. You could know better than I do. What do I know? I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm so cool.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's taken me, 2 years of doing this to start to finally kind of be like, shit's hard, man.
Yeah.
Like, I do everything that I want to do, or that I do because I want to do it, right? Mm-hmm. But, like, sometimes I want somebody to just, like, help me.
Yeah. And I just, like, I think I have a lot of respect for the people. There's some educators are more so, or influencers or big names, whatever you want to call them, are more so than others. But like, the people that are out there just like upfront with like, here's what I'm struggling with, here's this and that. Like, is it kind of cringeworthy to cry on the internet? Yeah, but it's also fucking real, and I respect it, because you ain't never gonna catch me, except for this podcast, and that's because I have no choice. But like, you ain't never gonna catch me from my page posting a video of me bawling my eyes out, like, talking about my problems. I'm just gonna not talk about it, like, except if you're in my personal range. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, nobody posts things on social media that were like, I feel like shit today. I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. I reacted poorly. I treated a client like shit. I was unprofessional when I should have been professional. Like, no one says that.
But it happens
every fucking day. But we all have those
day.
moments. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I just kind of feel like I'm at a point with myself where I am personally just trying to accept, like, where I've been my own worst enemy in life, you know what I mean? And accept responsibility for that, and, like, change it. Mm-hmm. Change those behavior patterns, and, like, not be so afraid of, like, who I'm supposed to be. You know what I mean? Because that's what it ultimately, as silly as it sounds, come down to. Like, I read it somewhere on the internet this past week, but they put it in good words where it was like, are you afraid, it might have even been Elisa, I don't know, of your, like, the successful version of you? And the truth of the matter is I am, because I'm, like, scared of that. And what if I can't maintain that? And this and that. And it's just all, mind game stuff. But it's like, I've kind of let my dysfunction stand in the way for too long because it was safer.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have to address said dysfunction and change it. And that's, like, hard and scary, but also, good. So I will talk about it, because if anyone else is going through that on their own level in their life and their version of it, then sometimes you have to admit where you are your own worst enemy, you know what I mean? And that was like that thing with Nadine. It was like, okay, I don't like to accept help from people sometimes. Oh, we lost a camera. But, step outside your comfort zone, you grow.
You didn't want to accept help from Nadine.
Oh, yeah, I didn't, just that I didn't want to, but not for any reason other than I was worried about what people would think. She's offering help, but I'm worried that, like, I'm taking advantage of the situation because I didn't have the money to, like, pay her.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But, like, that's what you're supposed to do. Like, people are supposed to take care of each other.
Right.
So I need to just, like, let someone take care of me when they see that I need it. You know what I mean? And, like, obviously I'm going to talk about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I know that, like, hopefully it does help. Hopefully someone hears this and reaches out to her, because she can help you. But yeah, I don't know. I think we spend so much time as hairstylists worried about other people, because that is our job, is to worry about other people. And when you're behind the chair, like, the other people do need to be kind of your main focus to an extent. Obviously, you got to take care of yourself. But, like, we can tend to, at least I have tended to, not take care of myself. And I've used the excuse of, like, worrying about other people too.
Mm-hmm. But you can't help other people. Like, you can't pour from an empty cup. So it's time for you to fill that cup back up, because it's been the Sahara Desert for quite some time.
I'm really thirsty. That could have been taken a lot of different ways. Yeah. So if anything, I just hope this serves as a reminder to anyone listening to take care of yourself and
contact Nadine.
Breathe
and sort.
Breathe and sort. Cannot say enough good things about it, seriously. But that has been actually probably a peak of the last 2 weeks. I mean, I feel like I'd probably be losing it without you if I didn't have that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, and I mean, you know me. I go to work and I do my thing and I leave. And, like, if somebody's got drama, it's not my drama, so I don't care. Like,
right. Unless it is your drama. And then it's like,
drama. Right? But most of the time, if I have the drama, it's because I've let something fucking get to me that shouldn't get to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So having that awareness of, like, no, honey, you did that. You know, instead of being like, well, if so-and-so hadn't done this, then I wouldn't have done that. And it's like, well,
you could have not allowed it to happen in the first place.
Or even just, like, I mean, I'm trying to think of the one time I ever had any drama at work. And it was, like, not anything with anything other than I was bothered by the way someone was acting.
Okay. At work currently?
I mean, I'm talking about, like, my current work situation.
Okay.
The only time I've ever had anything ever where anyone ever had to have a conversation with anyone.
Oh, I remember.
You know what I mean?
Going
like,
on.
and it wasn't even really drama. I just was, like, a little peeved by something, really. And my emotions are so big, the reaction, regardless of how I think it is in my head, is huge. You know what I mean? And that affects other people. So it's like, unhealed version of Ericka, healed version of Ericka says, no, you're just cranky today. It's not a big problem.
Right.
You know, you're tired. You're working on your day off. You woke up on the wrong side of the bed in a situation that really ultimately comes down to you being me, did not verify something because I was tired.
Mm-hmm.
No one dropped the ball except for me. So.
That's big. Look, she is the bigger person.
You know what I mean? So it was like, and I wasn't upset with anyone. Like the situation got under my skin a little bit.
Right.
But like, it's not like there was anyone where I was like, I'm mad at that person. And then had to be like, no, it's your fault. I just was like, the situation irked me. It was under my skin. I was like, that's annoying. And then I was like, it's whatever, girl. Like, if it were any other day, it wouldn't bother you.
But it's
you
today.
would just be like, that's dumb. And move on. But it's today. So you're like, but I just was like able to kind of get through it and realize it was my own shit.
Right.
You know? So like, you know, and maybe younger stylists struggle with that more because they're younger and I'm just a slow maturer, you know, but I'm a late bloomer.
She's a late bloomer, everybody.
Yeah, so like, you know, maybe if you find yourself in your 20s, most people by my age have figured this shit out. But yeah, so anyways, let's talk about you, Hunty. I'm done talking about myself.
Okay.
What's up with the house? How many more episodes get filmed in this podcast studio?
Potentially not very many episodes.
Okay.
Well, especially because I'm traveling next weekend and we close next weekend.
Oh.
So this actually might be the last episode filmed in this studio.
Oh, I'm Jizzle.
Yeah, the two. Yeah, actually, it very well could be the last episode filmed in this studio, which is sad. I didn't really like do the math at all on that.
Oh, well,
that
in
could
that case,
be sad.
I'm taking my pillows home.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
But yeah, so where were we the last time? The last time I'm pretty sure that they were like, everything's good and dandy, ready to go. Like the next day, everything wasn't good and dandy and ready to go.
Yeah.
So then it was just like...
It was like, here's the amount you need at closing. And then they were like, psych, it's 3 times that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So if that was the last update, we waited a few days after we filmed the episode and we talked together and we decided to pull back our offer or our letter to
move out,
vacate this house. And later in that same day that we did that, because I called the real estate agent and said, we want to pull the offer. We can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of the situation, which is like, if you like look at Bradley and I, like income wise and like on paper, we should be able to afford to buy this house. We should be able to afford to buy many houses. But the reality of buying a house in 2024 is that we can't. Or at the time, that's what it was looking like. So we were going to sign a month-to-month lease, pulled the notice to vacate or whatever. Later that same day, our real estate agent calls Bradley and is like, I'm going to take away some of my commission. So is the selling agent, and the sellers are going to cover the rest of the closing costs.
Okay.
So that happened, and we were like, what do we do? What are we going to do? Do we want this house this much? The answer was yes, we do want this house in particular this much. And so we were like, cool. Bradley emails the leasing agent again and was like, oops, we are going to move out this date. As far as I know, everything with that's still good. But then we called the electrician and the roofer that the sellers
Sweet Lord.
had,
Okay.
they're going to write a check for the quote that they received. The roofer was chill. Everything was like, yeah, that's all right or whatever. But the electrician said that for most quotes, you can expect like 20% more in work to be done. we had said that we wanted like a concrete number. We had said that we wanted like a concrete number from the seller so that they pay it, we get it, because without this work being done, we can't buy the house because we have an FHA loan.
Okay.
FHA will not approve you for a house
Got
that
it.
needs this amount of work done.
Okay.
So for like 2 or 3 days, we were thinking like, we're not going to be able to afford to do the work. The house can fall apart at this point after we buy it. Like, we've already agreed that we're going to buy it again. And now, like, we might have to say no because we're not going to be able to afford the additional costs to rewiring the house. Because 20% of a big number is a big number.
Yeah.
And so we were freaking out a little bit. A couple days passed by. The electrician finally has time to call us because they were like texting back and forth. And it was just, it's an older guy. He's not a very great texter. So there was some miscommunication. He said that you can expect 20% more, but he factored that in already.
Okay.
So there might be a chance that we get the money back.
Okay.
We get some money from it. The next step is that the appraiser is coming, and that should be sometime this week or early next week. And if everything goes well, then we're moving in 2 weeks from today, which by the time you guys hear this, we will have moved if we're going to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess you'll find out in 2 episodes.
Yeah. So that's that.
Got it.
Second week, new place.
Yeah.
The sleep schedule's getting to me because I wake up early. I have to wake up earlier because I drive further.
Okay. Yeah.
It's got to me this week. So I was kind of cranky a couple days in a row. A lot of my clients are canceling their appointments, which I expected some.
Yeah.
I did not expect this many. And so I'm a little stressed about the move. Like it's starting to, I have faith in the process.
Yeah.
But I'm starting to get really stressed about it because we're moving. We bought a house and I moved jobs. Like, why was I so fucking stupid to try and do all of this all at once?
You're in it now, so all you can do is get through it.
Yep. All I can do is breathe through it. So there's no other option than for all of it to work out.
Yes. I mean, I would say, honestly, it will work out. Like, it'll be fine. I think that salon is bumping and hopping and popping, and you'll rebuild just fine. You're a great stylist. Like, once people see you, they will come back. Like, have faith in that process. It will happen. However, this is part of said process. Is there is a pain that you feel initially in the beginning, you know?
Yeah. And to the clients that have followed me, please send me your friends.
Yeah, right?
Bring them to your appointment with you.
If you happen to work in the area,
come.
tell your coworkers.
Yeah. We had 2 new co-stylists start at the salon. One of them is my friend, CJ. She worked with us at Bombshells. She decided that she wanted to be a server for a little while. This was a little much. She was, overwhelmed by the whole process of being an assistant. I think she had different expectations of what an assistant does. Took some time away from the industry and is now back. So she was talking to the other girl. My headphones were on backwards. And it was really bothering me that the cord was on the wrong side. She was talking to the other new co-stylist, and I had walked by and she was like, "Oh my God, I thought his voice sounded familiar." Girl, this girl has listened to our podcast.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So her name's Alyssa. Shout out Alyssa if you're listening to this episode. Thank you for listening to us every week.
Yes.
But that was really cool. Like,
that is cool.
Oh my God, I met someone in the wild.
In the wild.
That listens to our podcast because, like, well, especially Ray's episodes. Sometimes
Yeah.
our podcast gets quite a bit of views, but
Yeah.
it's hard to put like a tangible feeling to those views, you know?
Yeah.
But it was really cool that like she was there and she was like, yeah, I like it. Like, so it makes me feel like pushing on a little bit more.
Well, I mean, I feel like we've had our ups and downs with this podcast, and the truth of the matter is we don't make any money doing this. We're literally just doing it because we enjoy doing it, and it can sometimes, it's a lot of work, you know what I mean? And like sometimes it's hard to be on after being on or wanting to just be off. Like on your day off, you're like, I don't want to have to go and do this, but
get dressed.
but you do, but you don't. You know what I mean? And so it's like, this is just a passion project for us. So to hear that is kind of like, as cheesy as it sounds, be like, the little things. But it is the little things that really do matter, that means something to us. So
because it is, like, we talked with Elise, which she'll be out next week. Her episode will.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this part is in the episode, but we talked about, like, it's a lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you kind of just think because there are people out there with podcasts that talk about podcasts that are like, it's so easy, it's so fun, you just sit down and you talk. It's not easy. It can be fun, but a lot of the time
it's not hard labor by any means, but it is a lot of work. You know?
And it's a lot of work that I didn't know that we were in for. And so, and it's expensive. This is a very expensive
Hunter,
hobby that we have.
Let's be honest, part of it is because you have to have the best of the best.
Part of it, yeah.
Part of it.
Yeah. But not
even
all
that,
of it.
but not all of it.
Like, a lot of the stuff that we have for the podcast is because I see other people using it, and I'm like, ooh, I like the way that sounds on their podcast. And then we'll use that thing, and it doesn't sound the same, and we're like, that's weird. So then you have to buy another thing to make that one thing work.
Or have the engineer to engineer the sound and understand the software. And it is
newsflash. I am the engineer.
Yeah, newsflash. Well, and newsflash, I am not the engineer, and it, like I said, it is more for me just like having to come and show up when you don't feel like showing up. I don't do a lot of the editing or any of the editing.
Well, I don't anymore.
Which is great, but it's like...
But that's another expense.
It's another expense, exactly. In one way, shape, or another. So,
yeah, being a little vulnerable, I'm feeling all of the hard work on my body and my mental state.
Well...
But I will say I was excited to come up here and film.
I was too. I feel like because we're not working together...
It does make it easier.
It makes it easier.
It makes it more exciting.
It's more fun.
The culture is very different.
Yeah.
The culture is very, very, very different. Not different in a bad way. It's just different. And so the adjustment of that is major. I feel that like the culture we had or I had was almost a crutch for me too.
Okay.
I feel like, you know, you feel very taken care of at Bombshells. And very heard and very, if anything were to happen, we got your back.
Yeah.
And it's probably because I'm new. I'm not saying that where I work is not like that.
Yeah.
But being the new guy is like everyone, it feels like sizing you up a little bit. And so...
It is.
I'm having like a weird time with that.
So, okay. Your move was like all on good terms. That's very copacetic and good. So let's put that out there. But like, I'm trying to think about this. Like in the past, when you were there, you came in in a mindset and did so come in at the bottom of the totem pole somewhat. and you came in with that energy and whatever. And so then you left and you went into a scenario where you were kind of in charge of like managing and helping and in a leadership role, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a new team forming, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So then you came to Bombshells when you came back, which was, since you were in beauty school, you knew you'd have a chair there. You knew the owner. You knew Mama Michelle was going to take care of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so this is like, in a way, kind of your first like big boy stylist, not as a bottom of the totem pole, not as a newbie, but as an established stylist. This is the first time you've had to go into a team environment and assimilate, kind of.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting. I've done it so many times that it's like, I think that's why I am the way I am, where I'm just like, I just go to work. Your drama's your drama. I don't give a shit. If somebody's going to be away and they're not changing, I'm not going to let it bother me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because I have to work here. Mm-hmm. So, like, I've done it a million times.
Well, and that's where I'm at.
It's
like
a thing. Yeah.
I got to be here to get to my next step. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm here, like it or not. I don't think that no one has been mean. Mm-hmm. No one has been mean. It's just different, and I feel like old me would have been trying to prove something, but because I'm not that person at all, I don't want to prove anything.
Yeah.
I just want to be successful.
Yeah.
And it's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different. I don't feel like I'm scratching to the top or anything anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I'm at the top, but I've had so many experiences in the 6 years that I've been away of like being let down by people that I look up to and seeing how people get to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it is scratching and stepping on other people.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I never want to replicate that ever. And it's people, I think, expected that because I have had some form of success. I guess like, to me, it doesn't feel that way, but I'm sure it looks that way to other people. I have a podcast that once we just talked about is like, we don't get paid for this. No one asked us to do this. We just come because we like to do it. But I'm educating and I'm posting about educating and stuff like that. But I definitely don't feel super successful.
Well, I do think that there is like being a hairdresser, I feel like, or like being an educator for a brand or having an education or like something like that. I mean, it's changed a little bit with social media, but I feel like it's kind of like letters by your name for like, if you
doctors.
For like if you went to a 4-year college, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, like a doctor.
Like an MD or MMD.
Therapist. Yeah, like PT, MD, BA, you know what I mean? Whatever it is.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I do feel like it gives you like a little bit of notoriety. And I noticed it when I was an educator because it was like nobody freaking knew who I was before. And then suddenly now, because I work for this brand, people are like, oh my God, she's a blah, blah, blah educator. And it's like, still me.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think if I had been more my head out of my ass and like harnessed the power of social media and focus, maybe I could have turned that into something, but I did not. So I do think that like there is something that comes along with being an educator where people are automatically like, oh, that's cool. Like in the business, or like they're going to listen to what you say or have an expectation, versus if you don't have that. And that's the thing about that, doesn't really make you a better or worse hairstylist.
It really doesn't.
Either, or a better or worse person. It really is nothing. It doesn't fucking matter, other than it means that you happen to be good at and enjoy sharing what you know with other people in a way that connects with them, that they can learn from.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means. / you're a salesperson for the brand you work for.
That's actually what I was going to say.
And that's the reality of what your job as an educator is. You get into it for the first part. The reality of it is the second part.
Mm-hmm. You're a salesperson.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working for a brand, you're selling that product.
That's why I'm not a successful brand educator, because my sales I'm like genuinely worried about like teaching somebody something, not if they buy the product at the end of the day. Half the time they have product already and they're here because they didn't learn anything from the last class that they went to.
Yeah. Or they're having issues using the product. And so they have all these questions about. So that's where I'm at with it. It feels weird. I want to be there to learn from everyone and learn how they're making their money and how their success has grown. And it's just an experience. It's
your mission in your career is very similar to your mission with this podcast, in that like we're here to learn and grow and share and like, I guess not be gatekeepy, you know?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how you are in real life as a hairstylist and as a mentor to your baby hair babies and stuff. And like, that is pretty rare, I think, in this business. And I hope that like with all the stuff we're going to talk about with Elise, like next week, all that stuff we've been talking about in the industry and like awareness being brought to these like cool kids clubs and like how some of this shit is like, I don't necessarily want to go as far as to say rigged, but definitely benefiting a certain
demographic
of cool kids. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So like, I feel like I noticed that when social media started to become a big thing was kind of when I was in my educator thing. And like part of it was like, oh, these cool people have followings, so they're going to get all this stuff, even though I'm the one out there teaching your classes.
Mm-hmm.
And it left a sour taste in my mouth. And maybe subconsciously that's kind of where my caring about it went downhill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think it was conscious at the time, but like I do feel like I've noticed that for a long time, and I think that's left a sour taste in my mouth with the industry, and that's kind of part of why I've struggled with where I fit in it.
Mm-hmm.
And what my niche is, because I just like Josh said it so good on the episode that still hasn't come out yet, but he said that and he's like, we all just want it. It's like to get attention.
Yeah.
You know, and I appreciate so much that he said that, because it's so true. And like, I don't know, since I was a little girl, I had this thing in my head about like girls who try too hard, or like people who try to get attention, you know what I mean? And it just all feels like trying to get attention, which in reality,
what it is.
That's what it is, but it's like this necessary part of like what you have to do to have a brand and be successful in this business. Or there's been too much focus on that part of it. I feel like I am still old school in that I think it's like about personal connection with people and stuff too, versus.
But at the same time, the social media part of it could still be a personal connection, because it's what you do with that attention when you get it.
It is true.
And I think, I know our mission with this podcast is to show and share the positive aspects of it, and like change the way that the cool kids group has formed.
Yeah.
And shut it down.
Maybe we're not the cool kids group, but we can be the
anti-cool kids group.
I want to be the you always have a seat at our table group.
Yeah.
You know,
like, come sit at our table and eat.
You've been outed from the cool kids group? Well, you've got a seat here. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Whatever. You don't fit in? Cool. Come be part of our group.
Yeah, exactly.
We're nice.
All right. I don't have anything else. Do you?
I don't either.
All right. If you want to follow us on social media, I'm Herrick's Hunter on all the things.
I'm Ericka the Redhead on all the things.
Our podcast is Break Room Banter Pod on all the things. If you want to have an additional way to support us, www.patreon.com/Break Room Banter Pod.
Get Breathwork with Nadine, Breathe and Soar on Instagram.
Yes, subscribe, YouTube. Our YouTube is growing.
It is growing.
We're almost to 100 subscribers.
Woo, woo. Shout out to Ray and Hair-Aid.
Yes, for that amazing episode.
Story. And
I'm
check
just
them out.
glad that episode is the episode that popped
My
off.
mama listened to it. And she was like, I just feel like the world needs more of all of that. Like, not just in the hair business, but the world just needs more of all of that. And I was like, yes, it does.
And that's why it did so well.
Exactly.
I really believe things that are supposed to do well are going to do well.
Yeah.
And until next time, remember.
You always have a seat at our table.
Bye.
We mean it.